Hello viewers, Super GT here. The recent round of the Nations Cup took us to Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya GP layout no chicane. Quite a mouthful. And it was a race that featured a very high amount of tyre wear. And as you can see, I would be struggling for grip throughout the race. But then again, so would everyone else. It made for quite an interesting proposition. Let us first of all jump into the qualifying session. Now it's this car, the Subaru BRZ GT300. That is the main car of choice. There are a couple of people using other cars, but that was the most commonly chosen car for this race. Mainly because of this final sector, the fast aerodynamics of this car, making it work really well through the high-speed corners. So first lap in qualifying, let's take a look. It's going to be a 38.4. Decent enough pace, but I suppose we can go a little bit better than that. Eventually doing exactly the same lap time, near enough. On this lap, so my third flying lap, I was nearly a tenth up going into the final sector. So let's see if we can improve. I want to ideally get to a low 38, if not into the 37s. Pole position at this point in the qualifying session was a 37.8, carrying a lot of speed through the penultimate corner into the final corner, turning in onto the curb, onto the power, up to the start finish line, and it's a 38.1, moves me up to P5, 3/10 off of pole position. Not too bad, given I'm just normally quite bad at qualifying. And a couple of laps later, I wasn't able to improve my final lap, but I was in P6, although I must be honest, only temporarily, until I was displaced by the Polish driver who went up to P4 at the last moment. So P7 on the grid, I had a decision to make. What tyres do we use for this race? Now, before I did this race, I watched some of the top split drivers competing in the same thing, and they were on the mediums, so I felt like, okay, that's the way to go. I'm going to go on the mediums, bit of fuel saving at the start, and this was really weird, guys. Watch this. Okay, so watch the black and blue car. It starts going before the race begins. So now I'm P8, and this guy's got a massive head start. I'm not sure where the stewards are looking or how much he has been bribed. They have been bribed. You can see this guy, he's already left. He's gone. He's disappeared. And he's miles in the lead already. You can see already, look. He's already getting down towards turn 1. Not even the aeroplanes flying overhead could keep up with him. He was that far ahead. So immediately as we start the race, I'm already 11.5 seconds off of the lead. And yeah, I mean, I guess add it to the long list of weird technical issues that GT7 is experiencing at the moment. There's quite a few, to be fair, and that's certainly one of them. Anyway, end of lap number 1. As you can see, it got fairly choked up. Quite a lot of cars very close to each other. Now, tyre choice was crucial in this race, and it was quite clear that people were going for different tyre choices. Some people on the hard tyre, which would definitely last till the end. The medium, it was not definite. You had to drive very smoothly to make sure it lasted. Bit of contact between a couple of cars ahead. There's a gap, I spot it. I'm going to go up the inside. There is a tap of contact, not the cleanest move of all time. He's going to be able to come back on the exit of the turn, down the main straight. Thankfully the two cars ahead move over to the right and I get the slipstream and I tuck back in. So I gain that position, back into P7 where I was kind of technically supposed to start, almost into the back of the Spaniard on his home turf here at Barcelona, if I can say it properly. And it looked like I was on the front foot here. Again, you're trying to work out which tyres people are on, and I got a good exit there. Presuming this guy is probably on the hard tyre. He defended the corner, as he's more than entitled to do. And then here, I mean, the opening was there. It would have been quite a tricky move to really get dead right. So I backed out for the time being. And I think it turned out to be absolutely the correct decision, because just coming down into this one, on the exit, very easy to do this. Yeah, he's going to break traction and turn left, even though it's a right-hander, and fatally beat Barrier. not the way you'd want to meet Barry, but sometimes it happens. So now I find myself in P6 and up behind this McLaren, which was very quick in a straight line. You see the tyre wear there, not too bad. We've only done 2 laps. It's the front left on this track which really takes the brunt, and I really horrifically messed up turn 1 and turn 2. So the Swiss driver gets back past here, and that's really what I had to avoid. This race was all about driving as smoothly as possible to make the tyres last the entirety of the race. Now the hard tyre, yes, is the more durable tyre. It would have been the easier option, but overall the medium appeared to be the quicker way to do the race. You just had to drive very, very precisely. At least that was evident upon watching the drivers in the top split do this very same race. Now the Swiss driver very quickly got onto the back of the Polish driver in front and was challenging for the position, and it became quite clear quite quickly here that this guy in 5th in the McLaren was quite intent on defending, and it's quite a frustrating strategy to be behind, especially when you're trying to drive as clean a race as possible, minimising time loss, and then you're just suddenly losing seconds after seconds trying to fight with someone who's defending. So more defence going into T4, but this was quite a good move here from the Swiss driver to hang it around the outside. The BRZ, good grip mid-corner, and that gave him the inside line here. And I spot them side by side, I look for the gap and try to go into the gap. Wasn't quite able to get on the power early enough. As you can see here, bring up the radar as the McLaren just got a slightly nicer exit and was able to go back past. He didn't get a good run through here, and this was really frustrating. You see already, there's only been 2 corners, the Swiss driver's already pulling away, and I'm guessing at this point that this guy is on the hard tyre because the grip just isn't quite there. And now under threat from behind as well, from the German, also in the Subaru BRZ. So I need to try and find my way past this guy really as soon as possible. He's very intent on defending. We're both losing time. People behind are gaining, people in front are getting away. So I really need to dispatch them as fast as possible through the final 2 corners. Really about just trying to keep as close as possible to get a good run onto the main straight. I wasn't really able to do it. Turned in maybe a fraction too late through the final turn. As you can see, despite getting the slipstream, the McLaren was actually pulling away. The Subaru here, not with the best straight line speed on the straight. So I had to wait another lap here. On turn 4, lap number 6. Do we have an opportunity here? Trying to square off the corner to get a good exit. And again, he kind of saw it coming, went defensive, and I couldn't really do too much. Perhaps try to perform an old switcheroo. But again, not quite close enough. The McLaren good on the straight. You can see they're just pulling away. The McLaren with a decent amount of power, especially compared to this BRZ. I just had to make the most of this final sector. This is where it was really going to happen, if it was going to happen. Try to keep as close as possible through these final 2 turns to give myself a chance on the main straight. The longest straight on the track into the biggest braking zone. Let's see if we can do it. Just trying to keep nice and close right up behind him, get a good exit. And he goes actually very wide. He goes 2 wheels into the gravel, and that's actually a real key factor. He gets himself a half-second penalty, and he goes defensive. And my tactic here is really to try to keep him pinned to the inside as long as possible, spotting my braking point and then moving out at the last moment, keeping him quite narrow, and then getting the outside move done. And we move up into P6 once again. So it was good to get that move done, but you can see already now the Swiss driver in front has gained 3 seconds, and it was crucial fighting. We've lost tyre wear, so yes, it was good to get the position, but perhaps a bit too much fighting. The tyres did not like that at all. You can see front left is more than 50% worn, and we are only just over 50% of the way into the race. So this isn't looking too great at this moment in time. As we head on to lap 8, lapping in the 40s now, which is the same as the fastest lap, which is a 40.3. So I might be going a little bit too quick. Now, watch the car in front there. That's the Swiss driver making a mistake, and it perhaps shows the first sign of the tyres beginning to go off for some drivers. I'm guessing that guy was on the mediums as well, as he was quite quick in pace. And as we cross the line to begin lap number 9, 4 laps to go, another 40.9 on the board, and just creeping up to the back of the podium positions. The guy in third was actually the guy who started really early and got himself a nice 11-second gap. But take a look at the front left tyre. I'd say we're down to about 10% life left. So this is getting pretty desperate now. And I'm not sure there's really going to be an easy way to finish this race, because as we come up towards turn 9, a very fast sweeping right-hander, which is not good for your front left tyre, I suddenly lost about 0.7 of a second to the car in front, and the tyre just really did not want to perform through that corner. Coming into here, again, just a distinct lack of grip. On the exit here, this car gets alongside, I let him go, there's no point in fighting him. And look at the difference between the two of us. You see that gap just opening up so quickly, as I was just not able to get any grip whatsoever. Grip has basically left the lobby and has just left me on my own. So now I probably could have pitted there, but we're going to see what we can do on these worn tyres, see how bad they are. That lap time there was about 4 seconds off the pace, which is really just not great at all. And this is, yeah, it's like taking candy from a baby pretty much. I've got no chance. Down to turn 1, the German goes through, the Polish driver goes through, and boom, the front left is 100% worn out. We are basically driving on the rim now, and that's suboptimal, I'd say. It's not ideal. It really just isn't a great situation to be in, especially with 3 cars in a big battle fighting past you. I was just trying to desperately get out of the way, really, and this other car coming through, I tried to move out of the way, let them all go, because there was just nothing I could do. It's basically like fighting a boxing match, and you've got both your arms tied behind your back. It's kind of not much you can do, really, is there? Other than go into the race with the correct gloves, which in this case is the tyres. Now, that was quite a bad analogy, but you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, at the end of the race, P12 after lap 12. And let's take a look at those last 3 laps, because I lost about 29-30 seconds. And to be honest, pitting loses about 29 or 30 seconds. So either way, I was screwed no matter what I did. Well, the main thing I should have done is just drive more smoothly to preserve the tyre. Obviously didn't do enough of it. And there was so much tyre wear that the game actually crashed. It couldn't handle that much tyre wear. But eventually we jumped back in to the next race. And I made a very stupid error here. Another one, yes, another one. Because I jumped in and then I realised, wait, why is the qualifying times already there? Before realising my catastrophic error that I'd actually jumped into the daily race, I was so used to doing this no chicane circuit. So yeah, silly mistake. Jumped out of that. Eventually, we did jump into the correct race, the Nations Cup. That's the one I wanted. And we're going to go again. If we can just have a proper race here without the tyres dying in excruciating death, that would be great. Now, the warm-up here went on for 11 minutes before the warm-up began, for some reason. I then commemorated the moment by sending this incredible dive bomb at the hairpin. So, on to the qualifier. I won't keep you too long on this bit. Basically, I set a 38.4, then I got a penalty for this. 1 pixel, the infamous 1 pixel wide penalty. It is what it is, and that ruined that lap. So it was a 38.1, didn't count because of that infringement. And then I just drove like crap on the next lap. I would have had to serve that penalty during this lap anyway. So I didn't really have any more laps to go. Now, to make a decision here, do we go for the soft tyre and then do 1 pit stop? Or do we go for the hard tyre? I decided to go for the hard tyre. I think the no stop on the hards is the better strategy. Well, the no stop on the mediums is the better strategy if you can do it right. But I couldn't, obviously. But we're going to give it a go here. Thankfully, this time around, no one managed to get themselves a cheeky head start. So we qualified P5, we actually start P5, and we have a 2-second gap to the lead this time, rather than 11 seconds. So with the jets flying across the sky above us, begin the race, once again in the Subaru BRZ, and already sliding. Trying to get used to the hard tyre compared to the medium. But obviously less grip, have to brake a little bit earlier, and there will be slightly less traction on the exit of the corners. And it became quite apparent quite quickly that some of the guys behind were on softer tyres. Either the soft or the medium, not sure which. This guy was very, very quickly in this race. And I wasn't going to fight too much. You know, if someone was genuinely quicker on a better tyre, I wasn't going to start defending. I just thought, you can do your race, I'll do mine. And that guy there in the blue car quite easily sailing by the two of us there at the end of this lap. And I was about to get overtaken again. But like I just said, I wasn't too worried. If they're on the better tyre, they can go for it. Didn't want to waste too much energy and tyre wear fighting. So this guy kind of got hounded there, and then I managed to go around his outside. I think he was actually on the same tyre. So I gained one position back at least. And then we had this Porsche, and it looks like he's got a penalty. And I kind of half defended. He still went for it up the inside. I gave the space. There's a kind of bit of contact mid-corner. And it was quite clear to me he was on a better tyre. You can see he got a much better exit. So again, not really in my interest to fight him too much and lose too much time. Just let him go. He wasn't about to spin into the wall like the other guy did in the previous race. But once he served his penalty, I stayed behind him, as you can see. So just really playing the long game here. We have to make these tyres last the whole race. I don't want to fight, don't want to lose too much tyre wear. Got to be really careful. Don't want the tyres to be dying of death. But the first case of dying of death, patient zero here, is the Frenchman, who I'm guessing must be on the softs because his tyres gone off very quickly. This is only lap 6. And then we've got ourselves another penalty here for the 1 pixel wide. I was quite consistent at getting the 1 pixel wide penalty, to be fair. Just needs to be 1 pixel to the left and I'll be fine. We gained a position there when someone went into the pit lane at the end of that lap. So move up to 5th. And then we have another case, patient 0, case 2. That doesn't make sense, does it? But yeah, this guy, he clearly, again, a massive lack of grip. I guess he must be on the soft tyre as well, unless he's done a horrific job making the mediums last. Even I made them last to lap 10. So we served the penalty, lose not too much time. Our main objective now really is to keep up and try to catch up with the Hungarian driver in front. And you can see the gap there is about 1.6 seconds. At the beginning of lap 10, the gap to about 1.3. So it was a good close battle between the two of us. I just couldn't quite reel him in. I made a bit of a mistake here through the very long right-hander of turn 3. Very punishing corner, probably the most punishing corner on the circuit, I'd say, in terms of tyre wear, especially for the front left. And I noticed I was often stronger than him in the first half of the lap, and then he was better in the second half of the lap. But the gap here, as we begin the final lap of the race, lap 12 of 12, 1.3 into the final sector, I was really just hoping for some sort of mistake, or perhaps that these tyres would go off. I do believe that we were both on the hard tyre. I don't think that mistake was coming. It was a very good battle between the two of us. I really enjoyed actually trying to reel him in whilst being consistent and not overdriving the car. So it's quite a good challenge actually, this race. And the top two were way quicker. They were a good 8 or 9 seconds up in the lead. But eventually I came through to finish in P4, and it was a solid result I think overall. I'm not sure I could have done too much better, maybe a third, but that's about it I think. But that brings this video to a close. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing, because that is always, well, I mean, you get to watch more Super GT videos. I mean, what more do you want? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself an amazing day. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.